Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Velgadi Observer, and today I will be telling you, I'll be showing you a little peek inside my world. And this is a world where monsters exist. So as you all know, I have drawn many monsters things, especially recently if you look over at the recent videos on my channel. Also, aside from monsters things, I draw many wonderful things, and I've drawn people too, a lot of people, and I will be putting a lot of them into my world. And as you can tell from the thumbnail, this is actually a map today, okay? And I have been telling you, all of you, for a long time now that I'll be announcing my world name, and here it is. It's called Persevera. Finally, Persevera. I really like this name. I think I'll tell you more about what the name actually is supposed to make me feel, at least me, in a future video. But for now, I just tell you that this is actually an old idea. It's actually a world that I came up with eons ago, like 14 years ago. 14 years ago. And take a look at this map that I drew when I was like 16, 17 years old. I was just a kid. And I actually think that I was onto something here. Because when I look at this, it sure looked amateurish, right? But you know how I am with art. What's good is good. I don't care at all about expertise. As long as it's cool, and it's cool. And it's also very strange. Looking at this old work of art that I did, like, I don't even recognize this thing looking at it. Like, even though I was the one who made it, it just felt like it was done by somebody else, because it was just such a long time ago, like a long time ago. Now back then, I actually came up with an entire world that it's complete with at least 4 really big continents, with like an enormous archipelago right in the center, which is inspired by where I come from, which is Indonesia. But unfortunately, that world map is forever lost. I tried looking for it everywhere, but I couldn't find it at all. And what I had was simply this little piece of a continent, that I'm showing you now. But don't worry, because they are all still in my head. After all these years, I still remember them. I remember what kind of monster should be living here. I remember the geography. I remember what kind of people are living here, not just monsters, like what their culture is supposed to be like. I remember the dungeons that are supposed to be scattered everywhere, like little checkpoints here and there. I remember the roads, what place leads to what. Like, I remember everything. Like, I even remember the places that I haven't fully designed yet. And the plan is for me to keep on making new concept art in this channel, and like new ones, like new, and combining them all with my older concepts, like the one that you just saw when I was a kid, when I was 16, 17, so I can make a really cool world, a better Persevera. And it's actually nothing grand, this plan that I have in mind. Like, I have some world-altering historical events, like really big things that have happened in mind in regards to the story. I'm not going to tell you about it today, but so what I'm going to do is actually just take this slow. Just take it slow, just chill, so that every little bit of world building comes out naturally, and all of you can just take your time enjoying these little trickles of lore that's coming out of my mouth in these weekly videos as well. So the point of my world building is it's not that grand. I actually happen to just simply be a big fan of anything fantasy games, fantasy movies, whatever. Like, and over the years, I have had a lot of ideas pile up in my head, and I think it's just too much of a shame to just forget. Like, they're too cool of an idea to just forget, or just let them gather dust in a sketchbook somewhere for no one to see. So I thought I'd just lay it all out here in public for all of you to see. And I'm also a big fan of comics, especially fantasy ones, fantasy books. But I'm a terrible writer. Like, I cannot write anything good. So I just think visualizing everything should be enough for now. Like, if I want to write in the future, whatever, like, at least, like, the visualizing part, this drawing part, it should just serve as a sort of diary that I can look back at, just so I won't forget. and maybe in this future can turn into something greater. I don't know, but for now my focus is just to have a good time and create cool things. Now, after all of that introduction, I just told you it's time to talk about the map itself. So in my world, in Persevera, there exists one of many continents, and this specific one is called Glaive. And for the people I've built up an existing story for, like, not you, I mean like the Rat Scouts and all those people. Like, I'm not gonna tell you more than the Rat Scouts for now. I have them in mind, but I'll tell you in a future video. But at least for the people in this world, as far as they're concerned, like Northern Glaive, this area right here is so massive, it can pretty much serve as their entire world. Like, it might not seem like such a big place, you know, like maybe on the map it doesn't seem like such a big place, but like it's actually very big. Like, if you were to be drawn on this map, like let's say right next to this town, you won't even make up for a single pixel. Like, it's absolutely enormous. It takes a long time to get from one place to the next, and I have added names to a lot of these places. You see Galaron Village, Creepweed Valley, White Valley, like the Foggy Marsh, but not all of them. As you can see, there's a lot of places that's just called Cave, or like mines or town. It's because I've either decided not to name them to begin with, like back then, or I haven't thought of a good replacement for the old names, because the old names today, I'm looking back, they're sounding kind of corny. So I only came up with ones. I only kept the ones that are good, and I can't think of any new names, good new names yet to replace the older corny ones. So I'm just leaving them like vague and generic, like tomb or like cave, you know, ruins, as you can see. And I've also created this one area where the Rat Scouts live. See right here, it's called the Foggy Marsh. Right there. It's actually a big marsh, which is a wet area with lots of little rivers and mud and just like gooey, swampy goodness. And the Rat Scouts live here, as you can see. Rat Scouts live here. This is the marsh. Lots of rivers. It's surrounded by forest. See that? And this is where the Rat Scouts live with their bush trees, and they're just surrounded by forests. And this forest is actually huge in real life. Like, if you've seen the illustration I did in my previous video, like they're supposed to feel like never-ending, like endless stretch of forests. And in this forest is where a lot of terrible monsters I designed will be living. For example, we have the Gasping Ape, which is a giant monster that stalks its prey with its its many sensory balls, and it's got this very scary looking arm, you know. And next we have the Cackle Face, which is just pretty much like a giant head. It's covered in tumors, and it can lure you by mimicking the noises that you're fond of hearing. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be the voices of people. It can be voices of whatever, like birds or whatever you like to hear. And I also have many other concepts I've made before on my channel, but I haven't decided yet on which one to put it into where. Like, one thing is for sure though, the Rat Scouts and the bush trees, like I'll just show you, like they're going to be living right here, right? Like in the foggy marsh, like marsh. See this? This is where they will be living now. All of the other concepts I've made before, like whatever, like I've made weapons, monsters, plants, all kinds of good stuff, like right here. So a lot of these will I'll actually be putting into Persevera. You know, what do you think? I'll be putting lots of those into Persevera, at least a little bit, not all of them immediately. But what do you think about this though? Like, it's a pretty sweet map actually. Like, I've never mentioned what I think about the map itself. So we got the serpent right here, a little flourishing. I call it. See this, like a banner here with the flourishing of like a woman ghost right next to it. And this it's got like a beast, like a dog head with its tongue pointing south, which means towards the south is like towards Blackwood. And we got the rotting glade. Like I hand wrote all of these, I think they look quite nice. And the forest here, like cave, checkpoint. We've got clouds. Well, not really clouds, more like fog, because it's the foggy marsh. Banshee's Outpost. Little story, spoiler, it's actually called Banshee's Outpost because in this outpost you keep hearing screams coming from inside the forest. Well, a checkpoint there, another checkpoint. Over here, we got the mine there. We got a little lake with a fish jumping out of the water. Jumping? Without legs. Creepweed Valley. I know a name for this town, but I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep it because the old ones sounding kind of corny. We've got Galeron here, a cave, some ruins. But you know, like I've never mentioned what I think about the map itself, but I made this whole thing on Procreate, and it looks nice. Like it's like a sort of old Lord of the Rings style map. So what do you think, guys? Comment down below. If you want to know more about map making, how I make maps, tell me how you think. And down in the comments below, if you want to ask me about how I make maps, you know, comment down below. But anyway, very thankful for you watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching. And if you did, please don't forget to subscribe because it helps me out a lot. I just hit 2,000 after like a year and a half. And if I got like by 5,000 by the end of the year by some freak miracle, it's gonna be so nice. And yeah, what do you think, guys? About Persevera? Do you like it? I like it. I think it looks cool. And this is not even the full stretch of northern Glaive, it's only the eastern half. Because there's supposed to be some more on the left, like I'm not drawing it. I'm gonna be drawing it in the future, but there's so much to explore here. So I'm gonna be staying here for quite a while now before I move on to the western part. But a little spoiler though, on the western part is where the elves live. And that's plan A. Plan B is actually, I might just make them like a fucked up society of inbred monsters. Kind of like the Targaryens, but just really, really ugly. And that's gonna be it for this video, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like down below, leave a comment, and I'll make sure to reply. I always make sure to reply, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.